In this first half, we're going to talk about tracking as it relates to both website clicks, our life, and how to do it in a notebook simply. And then I'm going to share an example of how powerful this is from my own life. So this is big picture, like what happens when you click a link on platforms like LinkedIn or even your email, whatever social site. You'll notice like the link itself isn't the actual destination. It's usually got a bunch of gobbledygook in it. LinkedIn especially will change the link in front of you. It'll add its own prefix to it. But a lot of other sites will add the parameters, the UTM, Universal Tracking Measurements, something at the end, like the source, the medium, campaign, etc., so that they can kind of reverse engineer where you clicked it. And they do that so that these platforms or the email service provider gets in between your click and the destination. And that's helpful for them so they know which links are clicked. And showing which links are clicked shows a lot of stuff, like what content's landing, where the buying intent is, and then they can just give you more of the links that are being clicked. You're probably thinking and making the connection between real life and tracking now. And what I'm doing now is off the top of my head, just creating some trackers randomly. Like, I'm not stressing about the structure of the tracker. I'm definitely not going on Instagram or Pinterest or YouTube and looking up trackers. They're beautiful, and all the top videos for journaling techniques feature a tracker in the thumbnail. It's got highlighters, it's got well-structured boxes. It looks awesome. And I hate them. Those are such a trap because it makes you think about tracking as the thing instead of the insight you're supposed to be getting from tracking, the metric that really matters, or really how that changes and improves your life. Inevitably, it gets exhausting to maintain those ornate trackers and to track so many different things that people fall off and they don't have like a deeper resonance to the thing they're tracking, and it kind of just doesn't go anywhere in terms of leading to changes in their lives. So what I'm showing here are just really simple ways to track things that actually might matter. So for example, if you're distracted, you feel foggy, you feel unclear, and you want to understand why, maybe check out how many times you pick up your phone throughout the day. Check out your screen time, obviously, but maybe focus on one app that is the problem one. Here, these are the kind of trackers I'm talking about, which can get overboard. You'll see them where there's 10 columns, and they go really deep, and then they'll take that grid and then turn it into a graph. And it's too much. It's too much. Just high-level overview. Did I walk today? Did I read 5 pages? If I didn't, what's going on those days? What's going on the intervals of time when I'm picking up my phone a lot? That's all you need to actually get some useful info. And if you're more of a stream of consciousness writer type, you don't want to invest in setting things up. You could do this in a list view where you're just listing at that specific time. You're looking at the journal. What's the time and what's going on? What am I feeling? What happened? You don't have to set anything up. You're just rolling, flowing. And if you don't even want to get caught up in the time aspect of it, you can just write words. And then if you really like writing words, you got a bunch of words, then you can look back at it, think about what words kind of correlate to what you were doing today. If in the morning you're really cranky and negative and you see those words a lot showing up at the beginning of the day and then at the end you're more calm, that says something maybe about your chronotype or how your brain thinks, and that's actually useful. So here we got 5 different versions of it's just simple tracking. It's don't overcomplicate it. It's really about tracking the thing that matters and then doing something about it. And to connect this back to tech a little bit, one of the reasons they say Facebook won over MySpace is because Facebook picked a better metric to track. They tracked daily active users, whereas MySpace, I think, just went for users. Facebook's helped them focus more because they could try something out every single day and then the next day see if it worked. The active part helped them not get caught up in the vanity metric of like a sign up where, they tried it for a minute once and then they never came back. So instead of stressing out about how to make this look, I think it's more useful to just stress out about what are we actually tracking? What's useful to track? And what are we trying to get out of it? A theme of these recent videos is that clarity of mind is so rare and so powerful. We could work so hard on the wrong thing. Whereas if we had a clear-headed idea of the trade-offs we can make, of our skill sets, of our purpose, where we should be directing our attention, we can be actually pretty inefficient. But if you're going down the right path at a slower pace, you're going to beat the guy who is constantly switching paths at a sprinter's pace. And I think you get there through clarity, because with clarity, you have to listen to a lot of things. You have to listen to your bank account. You have to listen to your responsibilities. You have to listen to your boss. You have to listen to yourself also. And that's where the writing down part happens. This is a conversation you're having with yourself through words, through symbols, through trackers, through check marks. And then you take all that in and you make a decision based on your judgment. And the more clear-headed you are about that, better the decision, better the life. So let me give the example of how this has helped me in my life. Simple tracking. This is a screenshot of what I do every week. I just assigned a number to my life satisfaction, I call it. It's not happiness. It's not, contentedness or joy. It's just life satisfaction to me is the equivalent of saying, like, if I died, would I be happy with how I acted this past week? Sometimes that requires a lot of work. Sometimes it requires me not working at all and being present with family. It's a very flexible term for me. And so I stick with it and it works. And you see a couple of dips. One of those dips was a little prolonged, and then I noticed it happening. And I had to look back and be like, what's going on? Like, I'm feeling off and it's not trending in a good direction. I look back at my very loose trackers. I wasn't setting up the whole grids. I was just doing the basics like you saw earlier. And the themes are pretty obvious, like right in my face. For me at that time, it was drinking too much, staying out too late, being around the wrong people, not being healthy. And of course, that didn't leave any time for the kind of restorative things that I like doing, reading, writing, doing things like this. And then I made the change, and then I was tracking it, and it actually got worse after I made the change, after I stopped drinking, after I stepped away for a couple weeks. But the tracking helped me see, like, hey, it was going down for 3, 4, 5 weeks. It kind of makes sense that it sucks for a week or two. I'm still making my new sober friends and finding new habits. And so it really helped my judgment, helped me be patient, helped me follow through. When if I was just following emotions and not tracking anything, maybe I would have backslid a little easier. So whether it's that kind of lifestyle change for you, or it's just changing how you wake up in the morning or in the afternoon, I think tracking like this, if you do it simply, can be really comforting and really enlightening and motivating, because it leads to better action and better judgment. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.